All right, we're here at Industrial Injections Machine Shop with Dustin. We got the dumpster dyno block here.
We got to find out if this engine's even rebuildable. So we don't know if the block's got a crack in it. We don't know if it's, I mean, there's a lot of rust. It took us all day. It took us overnight, really. We soaked it to get the pistons out. You guys seen how bad the pistons look. This engine is quite the mess, in my opinion. But we're gonna take it through the whole process, and you guys are gonna see us qualify the block, the crank, the rods. I even have a cylinder head for you that I found in the dumpster. Saved from the dumpster, I should say.
Awesome.
And we're gonna check that out, make sure everything's rebuildable, and from there, we're gonna show you guys all that process. All right, so here's another cool thing that we're gonna do. So this is what's called the red injector Easter egg. So you guys go through, watch this video, you look for this red injector. It's gonna be weirdly placed somewhere in this video. You guys, the first person to comment and say the time that it is in the video is gonna get a swag pack, some cool shirts, some hats, something like that. And even if somebody's already done it, look for that injector. Maybe we'll get you guys something, but check it out. This is what it looks like, a red 12 valve injector.
And we're gonna keep doing it through each dyno to dumpster, dumpster to dyno. What the hell video are we doing?
Dyno to dumpster.
And we're gonna keep...
That's what happens when we blow this thing up on the dyno, is it's actually gonna go back into the dumpster.
And we're gonna keep doing it in every dumpster to dyno video. So
and maybe we'll do it throughout, so keep an eye out.
Yep.
We're actually filming this like 100 times. We're making Scott stay out in the cold as long as he possibly can.
He's walked back and forth.
Walked back and forth 20 times. We don't really care. We're just trying to act like we're making it a big deal. But realistically, it's like 30 degrees out there and he's got a t-shirt on. So here he comes. Look at, he's even wearing the same shirt as you guys.
Yeah, we're trying to promote this shirt. Go get it on the website. The drip shirt. It's pretty awesome.
We're getting ready to do this dumpster to dyno video, so it's going to be a pretty cool day. We're excited about it. Huh? You know, I don't know what's going on with your time clock, but we start around here at 8 o'clock.
I was trying to get here and I tried to call the IA, Intelligent Artifact, and he didn't answer, so I had to call AI.
Siri wouldn't do it for you? Or?
And you know,
you went the
wrong
wrong place.
Freaking, I didn't know I was at the North Pole, man. Holy crap.
It's only 30 degrees out there, dude.
Well, you know how many servers?
Hey,
no Siri. So.
Just curious, Scott. That was kind of messed up. Can we get it one more time? No. Are you ready to do this dumpster to dyno? Are you ready to learn how to machine this? What if this block's no good?
That's what we're here to find out.
That's what we're here to find out.
I mean,
because I'm still a little skeptical. Thing lived in the dumpster for 3 or 4 months. Then it lived down in Lake Havasu with no tarp or anything, out in the open for
a year.
So
yeah.
All right, follow along. Let's see what we can find out. So this is where you're going to be. First stop of your engine is coming in here. This is where we determine whether it passes the mustard or not and moves on to the next stage.
Okay.
So this is Richie. Richie is like eagle eye. He finds stuff here that you would never even believe. Like he knows these blocks in and out.
Find out if my block's
He's
good
going to tell you whether it's cracked or got any problems with it that we can send through.
All right.
So what we find all the time, and we're always checking for, is pattern failures. On a Cummins 6.7, we know what to look for as far as pattern failures. On a 5.9 12 valve, there's different pattern failures than on a 6.7. Duramax have pattern failures, all this stuff, right? So when something gets past here, it's a new thing that we've never seen before. I've never seen anything that's like, oh, hey, this is something you should have caught. He doesn't miss anything. And once they don't have any visual cracks, heads, blocks, whatever, come through here, and crankshafts, and this is where he'll Magnaflux them. We'll mag your crank, block, or the head will come in here and get all glass beaded. And then there's a whole nother side of the shop that you guys are going to get to see, and that's where all the big CNC machines are that we bore, deck, surface, port, all that stuff on that side, but we'll show you that here coming up. But the first step is to go get the block out of the storage container and get it in here.
All right.
So
Let's do it.
Let's do that.
All right. Look at that.
All right. Does it remind you of your times of getting dirty?
Does it remind me of what?
Your times of getting dirty down there?
Yeah, a little bit.
Because you're about to get even dirtier now.
Oh, I hope you have a jacket for me to wear, because this is my nice jacket.
You got an apron. You can put on an apron.
I
We'll
have-
put him on that whole suit. The clean up suit. I saved this from going in the dumpster. But here's a good 12 valve head that might be good. I haven't even looked at it. I haven't inspected it. I don't know anything about it, so this will be a good one for us to check out today as well and see if it's any good.
Awesome.
All right, so he's really worried about getting his new drip shirt.
I am. I don't want to get this
Dirty.
new shirt dirty. And
So we don't.
Semi-good pants.
We just wear our work clothes, you know, whatever. But we've got something for Scott, so let's get him outfitted up and get him ready to go.
Bryton, I am your father.
He doesn't want to.
What do I do?
Okay, so right now what we've got going on is this is Richie back here. This is his
Domicile.
domicile. He's doing what nobody else can do. I promise you this. Finding problems with this block.
He's rubbing the hole.
Yeah, he rubs it. He checks it. He knows where the problems exist in this thing, so he's looking to make sure this one doesn't have any problems. And we call him Eagle Eyes here because he can find stuff that, like he put a little mark there. There's a little bit of a problem with that thread hole. So we'll go through and re-tap everything and make sure it's all nice and good. But he's just making sure that it can move on to the next part.
Phase.
He's qualifying it to move on, and he's going to look at your block and be like,
He's quality
throw
control
this right in the
of
dumpster.
the blocks.
Or- he was just so you know,
He threw my block.
threw that away.
It's like, that's a waste of my damn time.
I don't think Richie even knows what we're doing here.
Well, tell him.
Richie, do you watch our YouTube channel? So, do you remember a block back here for a couple weeks that couldn't get turned over or pulled apart?
Yeah.
I said, just throw it away. We don't got time for this.
Right.
Threw it, the whole thing in the dumpster. Had an oil pan. It was complete, short block. Well, Merlin took it out of the dumpster when he was here, like a year ago, because he's like, oh, that's a good block. I can make that work.
Yeah.
He took it out of the dumpster, took it home, set it in the side of his shop. We went down there and he says, oh, Scott, let's take this apart. And I'm like, you ain't gonna take that apart. Well, he got it apart. Filled it up with pool acid, melted all the pistons out of it, and sure enough, we got it apart. So we're gonna take this engine. Scott, he's worried he's gonna lose his job to AI because AI is taking over the world. So he wants to learn how to do this.
Okay.
So in the meantime, we're gonna take you through the whole process and show you what we do here at Industrial when we clean a block up, get it ready, make sure it's good for machine work. And Scott's gonna learn how to do all that. So we're taking the oil galley plugs out right now because when we wash this thing, that's where everything gets caught, is in the oil galleys and stuff. So we want to be able to have that free and clear so that we want to have that free and clear so that when we final wash this, all that open space can be washed out and brushed out. We have brushes that brush those out, and everything will get caught in there. Especially like if you had a motor that say lost a rod bearing or something and you didn't take those oil galley plugs out, even if you change the oil cooler and all that stuff, there still could be potential debris and stuff stuck inside those galleys. So what the oil galleys are chambers through the whole block that feed your rod bearings, your main bearings, your cam bearings, your piston oil squirters, and even feeds up through these ports right here, up into the top end of the cylinder head, and feeds your rocker arms and stuff like that.
So that might be tricky getting out. Is it rusted in?
Yeah, this one's a little extensively rusted, but
Oh.
he'll get it. Let him try. Let's see. We should have let him. Let him.
Do I really need all this bullshit on?
Yes. If you don't have that on, it'll not work.
Okay.
Come on, he even loosened it for you.
I know he did. Here we go.
Hey.
Just
There.
like that.
Got his hands dirty.
What else?
Just scrape all that gasket stuff off.
Okay.
On if you want to.
You want me to toss them in there? Is that what this is for? So, do you... I know he made me put these on the exact same spot, but are we not worrying about that now?
So if you look at it, it'll have a number on there,
Okay.
right here.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, there you go.
There's your number.
Okay.
So you have 1 through 7. The front of the engine's right here.
You definitely want to make
So
sure that the
from
numbers
front
are
to
on
back,
them.
Numbers 1 through 7. Yeah. Definitely before you would take these off, you would make sure that this is on there, and if it isn't, then you.
And that they are in the right order.
Because
So.
it is very crucial that those are in the same spot.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm still learning, you know.
Okay, now you gotta get the, scrape the gasket off this side.
Okay.
What is your way?
Now you need to get your oil squirters out.
So that, you can barely see that little round thing there on the right side. That's what I'm knocking out, and it's a piston oiler.
Yep.
You can see
Shoots
this
pressurized
one better.
oil up into the bottom of the piston, and when we
See
get to
that
the
one?
pistons,
Can you see it on the camera or not? Okay.
I think so. Yeah. Oh yeah, you can see it.
Okay. Right there, yeah. That's what we're knocking out. I probably still need that though. It doesn't take much.
it's coming out pretty easy.
Signing that one. Let's see there.
You see there, that's what he just took out of there.
Just presses in from the bottom up,
Shine
and
that
your
one.
engine rebuild kit will come with new ones.
Is that the metal gasket?
One more hit.
It's that thing right there.
There you go.
Here we go. Am I setting it on its end
So
up
right
there?
yep, right on there on its end.
On the wheel?
Yep.
You want to put the deck like on one of these water.
Before we wash it, we would kind of do a visual inspection, but since it's so rusty, we'll get it kind of washed up a little bit and see what we can find first.
Oh my lord!
Okay, now,
Make sure she's hooked in there. And
then you can lift this up. And then this thing's 40 years old, but it works so good. So now this is our latch button. Air latches them. Now step back and let the master turn it on. So now we're going to take this cylinder head over here to the workbench, and we're going to visually inspect it for any cracks or anything that could be wrong with it that would prevent us from building this cylinder head and rebuilding it. Before we soak it and do all of our washing stuff, we'll look for pattern failures and stuff like that on it. Our main focus is in this area right here.
check right here is the most common spot for cracks. They
So
can get cracks
in between the valves?
Yeah,
Yeah, in between the valves is the most common.
Too.
And then around the injector holes.
That's the injector hole.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing any cracks on this. He's gonna kind of go over too and look. Are all of our holes like there? Are they like, a lot of these 12 valves will have issues with erosion around here and they'll be all messed up. And is it a head that visually looks like we can rebuild it too? Like, are there any broken pieces, any cracks here, intake manifold cracks, anything like that? And this one doesn't, I'm thinking this was probably off of a piece of equipment or something. And so I don't think it's gonna be, there's no overheating has ever happened with it.
It looks rebuildable.
Yeah. So at this point it looks rebuildable. It's a Tuppy Brazilian head, which is a good casting. So, and it is for a P pump. That's why we have this notch right here. That's a huge difference, is if you don't have this notch right here, then a P pump won't fit on it. And yeah, I think it's ready to put in the soaker to soak it.
All right.
So we'll soak this now for 4 or 5 hours, and then we'll pull it out of the soaker later this afternoon and get it cleaned up a little bit and dried out and set over there so we can glass bead it tomorrow. Hey, we need this.
Now we can't throw any of them away.
We need this core block. We got like 5 or 6 orders right now. I need this block to sell to a customer.
That's me. I'm the customer right now.
So you can jump in there, Richie, and help him strap it. Hopefully we can salvage this crank without having to grind it.
Just put it in this corner. Okay, yeah.
Is that the one that was in it?
Yeah.
So we were at lunch. It's Richie, right?
Yep.
Richie decided
Started
to
some of it.
Start some of this.
He left
and-
this top for you to start cleaning up. So go ahead and grab your buffer wheel. And
All
let's
right.
get the deck cleaned, and then we'll buff the cylinders out. There should be some etching in there.
Yeah.
From the
rust,
acid.
the rust and
Well,
the
the acid kind of bubbled out. You can see it's definitely etched. But we're gonna deck that. So
Okay.
hopefully it's not already been decked. It's got a little lip there.
Can you only go down that far?
We've taken quite a bit off them before, but there is kind of a threshold that we want to stay above. So
Yeah.
hopefully we don't hit that.
All right.
Go ahead and start buffing away. And really, hold on for a second.
Yeah.
Really, the only reason we're even buffing this right now is just to do a visual inspection.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna deck it and do all that stuff, but we want to get all this rust and cleaned up so we can get in there and really look and see if there's any cracks across the deck or any of that stuff, because there's Magnafluxing we can do and all sorts of stuff, but if there's a visual crack, that's all for nothing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you
go
don't
ahead.
want to keep going and waste your time.
Yeah. That's where the piston's sitting there, so you got to kind of like.
You gotta work it around.
Yeah, we don't know yet. We're questioning. No, not yet. We hope we didn't.
It's gonna look like it because
Yeah,
just because of
the etching.
the etching
Yeah.
or what happened, but it definitely seized a piston.
And maybe 2 of the cylinders.
Yeah, it started
This
to
one
see
and
That
this
one,
one.
is that what these lines are?
Yeah. That's probably why it didn't have a cylinder head on it. Was because the head was probably cracked or something. and they threw the head away or something. But definitely in 2, 3, and 4, we're really starting to kind of come apart there. So
How do you know how far you have to bore it?
well, we're going to find that out here in just a minute.
Okay.
If this was just a normal block that didn't have the etching and the rust that we put into it, it would probably easily go just 20 over. We do standard, 20, and 40. On a 12 valve, there is a 30 over. So, but I don't keep that stuff in stock. I have those sizes, so I don't have to have 1,000 different pistons. But if this was just a normal block, I'd say easily 20 over will fix everything here. But I'm not 100% sure that we'll get down to base metal without the rust protruding out of it at 20 over, because that's only 10,000ths a side that we're going to bore it. So now we've at least qualified it to move it to the next stage, which will be going out to the F79 and bore it out and see if 20 is going to do it or 40. If 40 doesn't do it, there is a chance to save this depending on how you want to build this motor.
Sleeve?
You can, if one cylinder doesn't clean up, you can sleeve it. We don't like to sleeve anything more than a bone stock, low horsepower engine, just because of the issues that arises with sleeving a motor. But depending on what you want to do with it, we'll take it out there and I think it'll go 40 over, or at least be able to go 40 over.
You saved those?
Nope.
No?
Unless you want to take one home with you, we can wash one up and a couple of them up, and you can take them home with you and put them on your wall.
Put them on my wall. Ow!
Now we'll let him wash the rods up, and then when the rods are washed up, then we'll length check them and mag them and stuff and see if they're good to send through. All right, so we've got the head all cleaned and blown off. We inspected it visually for cracks and stuff. We don't see any. Now we're gonna move over to our Magnafluxing and glass beading area so we can get this head looking brand new, so we're ready to do the machine work process. So good job on getting it cleaned up. You ready to move on to the next step?
Oh yeah, let's move on.
All right, now we're gonna go over to the glass bead.
All right.
God, it's cold in here.
Yeah, what are you doing?
The door open, so
Jeez, Carson, it's cold in here.
we gotta keep the
Oh
sand
yeah,
over here.
go ahead and bring that on
Holy
in.
moly.
This is Carson, and he's kind of in charge of making everything look super awesome.
Make it pretty.
Yeah, make it look pretty, and also he's the last resort, final inspection. If there's any hidden cracks or anything like that through the Magnafluxer or glass beading or more visual inspection, he's the last, what do you call that?
Quality control.
Yeah, but like,
Last line of defense.
last, yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
So-
he's our last line of defense.
So we're gonna put the head in the glass bead right now, right? It's glass bead?
Yeah, glass bead.
What's the difference between glass bead and sandblast?
So glass bead is actually little glass balls instead of sand. It'll eventually turn into sand blasting when it breaks down and turns into sand, because that's what glass is made out of. But this is actually a sand blasting machine.
Okay.
And it's got sand, which is actually really rigid, has sharp edges if you looked under it under a microscope. And what this would look like is little balls, little glass balls. So, I mean, this will actually kind of put a shot pinging effect to it, and it's a way better, we like the finish on it a lot better, so that's why we use the glass bead.
All right, let's throw it in the glass bead machine.
Let's do it. Because it actually builds a static charge in here when you're working on it, and it'll zap you.
Oh.
So this grounds you out to the machine.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna come in, drag this guy up to us a little bit. We'll take our hose here, and we do have an air gun on the other side so we can blow off the part and kind of inspect it as we go.
Okay.
But first we want to go over the deck, so that way we can make sure there's no cracks in it before we go and clean anything else up.
Oh, okay.
So you start, okay.
I just start at the top. I usually start up here in the corner. I just do circular motions and work my way down. I like to get all the holes cleaned up first before I really focus on the valves. Go in there and clean all that up.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll hand it over to you and you can plunk away at it for a little while.
Wait.
So you don't need to hold on to your air nozzle right now, just yeah, when you're inspecting, cleaning off.
I'm right-handed, so.
I'm ambidextrous, I go both ways.
All right. But this kind of blows shit out of the way so you can see, or not?
And mainly just when you are done blasting and you kind of can't see what spots you got on there still, you want to just throw your nozzle aside, blow off the gun. I even take my little flashlight and shine it through the window.
Do you? So now that we blasted all that off, Carson, we're just gonna check for cracks again real quick.
Yep. Richie's already done it and I trust him, but we're gonna go over and just double check him. We're gonna go along all the valves, make sure there's nothing heading toward your injector. It's looking good. Your smaller cracks, you want to look right here on your chamfer surface. They can hide from you. This is an amazing head. It's cleaning up quick. It's no cracks. I think we got a good one.
Awesome.
Well, then after we sandblast it, we're going to put it in the Magnafluxer and actually Magnaflux it to make sure there's nothing that we missed at all.
Yeah.
And then, after that, before we build the head or anything, we're just going to put it on our pressure testing machine, which we have out here, and we're going to check for internal cracks, any leaks that it might have where the coolant could be leaking into your engine and all sorts of stuff.
So there's quite a few steps to making sure that this thing is crack-free.
Before we even machine it, like you've seen, there's a ton of steps that we have to go through to make sure that we can even send it through the process. Because if we send it through the process before we do all this, then we just wasted money.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, so how did you like glass beading it?
Well, you
Looks
know,
pretty good.
I wish I could take credit for the entire thing. I glass beaded the top. It was fun, it was good, but we left it to the experts to do the entire thing, so this thing can be trustworthy, you know?
Well, it looks good. It's all cleaned up and ready to go. So this is going to be a good head. There's no cracks in it. We've Magnafluxed it, we've washed it and cleaned it. Everything's good on it. Now we're going to send it through to get a couple of things checked and pressure tested. So awesome. We'll do that next and do the final machining on it.
Yeah.
So now you're going to see us Magnaflux the crank. All right, so now we've got the 12 valve crank that came out of the D2D dumpster to dyno block. So we're going to load it up here into the Magnafluxing machine. This is a really cool machine. It's not a scary circus tent or anything, but we're going to load it up into the Magnafluxing machine and we're going to kind of explain how we magnetize this crank and see if there's any cracks in it.
Crank loaded up in this Magnaflux. Tell me, what does a Magnaflux do?
So a Magnafluxing machine, what it does is so down here we have a bath that's full of water and it's mixed in with a whole bunch of magnetic particles. Okay, so they look like basically it looks like this, and it's all this magnetic dust that's floating around in here. And so what Magnafluxing is we're actually going to magnetize this whole crank so that the crank has a north and a south pole. Okay. Because everything that's magnetized has a north and a south pole, and I'll show you that here in a second. But when you have a north and a south pole, you'll make a median line between it. And the median line is basically the north and the south pole. If you know how magnets work, they pull against each other. So we're going to magnetize the crank. We're going to put all this magnetic particle on it. And if there's cracks, we're going to see the particles flow into those cracks because it's going to try to pull the particles into those cracks.
Okay.
So,
okay.
my little gauge I have, it's going to test our magnification. You can see we have a negative and a positive, so that's going to show us our north and our south pole. So now you can see that on this side we have a negative.
Okay.
And as we come across the crank, there's our middle, and all the way over we have our other side. Really full of basically
Metallic material.
metallic material. And so then we have this black light. You can see how nice, what's in the material also is stuff that reacts with the black light so that you can see it really easily.
Fluorescent.
Yeah, fluorescent stuff. So we have this
You
dark,
guys ready to get into the
yeah.
tent?
The dark room.
Like Dustin was talking about earlier, we have pattern failures that we see here. So failures that we see a lot of out of certain engines. So if you think about how this crank is made, where the cracks are going to be right in what we call stress risers. So when you have something, you have to think about if you were to take this crank and try to snap it in half, where is it going to break?
Okay.
It's probably going to break here or where there's holes where there's a stress riser, because like if you have a piece of wire and you put a nick in the wire and then you bend it back and forth, it's going to break where the nick is.
Yeah.
So that's what we kind of know where the stress risers are in this crank. So we're going to look really carefully where those are, and we're just going to go through and start looking for some cracks. So far we're looking pretty good. And usually when you find one crack, you'll find many. But yeah, this crank looks really good.
Nice.
It's safe to say that this crank is a good crank for you. Demagnetize it, then all of the metal in your engine is just going to stick to the crank. And
You don't want that.
no, you do not want that. So that's a really important part about Magnafluxing, is getting it demagnafluxed.
Yeah. All right, so we got this thing demagnetized from the Magnaflux. Magnetized, checked it. There's no cracks, looks good. Then you demagnetized it,
Yep,
so we make sure that no metal sticks to it inside the engine.
right.
And now, where are we taking it?
Now we're going to take it over to the balancer and we're going to balance the crankshaft.
All right, onto the balancer.
Yeah, these are not looking too good.
All right, so what's this bad news you're talking about?
Well, so this block has been wonderful all the way up till here. We finally found a problem that we might not be able to remedy.
Uh-oh, that doesn't sound
Those
good.
3 pistons that were smoked that we showed you guys earlier, these 3 rods are smoked. They're compromised.
See how they're blue right here?
Oh,
Blue,
yeah.
purple.
Is this how they're supposed to be?
Those are your signs of
so
overheat.
they're a sign of overheat and possible weakness on these rods.
Yeah.
Well, we
So,
don't want a weak rod.
What happens is after they're basically hardened after they get so hot. So this is going to make this super
brittle
brittle
or,
and
okay.
prone to cracking, basically.
Yeah.
So
we
basically-
do not want to use these.
Basically, the whole engine core that you just did just needs to go back in the dumpster. And
Oh,
you need
come
to-
on.
You need to call Merlin and get another one. What do you think,
So we
Bryton?
just need to find some rods, huh?
I think I have some England rods in my stash over there that I've been
Sweet.
saving. So
So
should
I
be
think
good.
there's 3 good ones here possibly. We need to length check them and still mag them. We'll go do that now. Make sure that we have a full set of 6 that are awesome.
length
So you'll still reuse the
If,
3?
Yeah, yep. There's no heat. There's no signs of heat on those ones. They were in the engine doing everything like they're supposed to. We even have good
we might
good
reuse
bushing.
them
Might.
if they length check and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
But
They have to pass all of our qualifications first.
these ones being bad,
We won't even
they
check
might
them.
not pass.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay. All right.
We won't even reuse these burnt ones though.
Yeah.
No,
You know what I mean?
these
We
ones are
just
those
they're
Those go
compromised
back
and-
to the dumpster.
Those-
Yep.
for
Those
Merlin.
will go in the dumpster, and we'll let you throw them in there, and you can tell Merlin they're staying in there.
All right.
Have you seen Scott?
Sounds like there's something going on in the dumpster.
What the heck's going on in here? What are you doing over
Oh.
here?
Merlin told me there were some more treasures in the dumpster, so I'm in here
You-
trying to find some rods.
You trying to find some more rods?
Yeah, but
I promise you, if they're in here, the rods are junk.
it looks like I found a trampoline.
There's a
I
couple
can
of-
probably take that back to my kids.
There's a couple of Cummins blocks in here and a trampoline.
There is. There is.
This is a magic dumpster that gives out good Cummins engines.
Yeah. As long as you're willing to put in the time, I guess.
Yeah.
Don't be getting any ideas now.
Now, Merlin, these are junk. These are compromised. They're burnt. We've done everything we possibly can to save these. Leave them in there. The magic dumpster.
So as you saw, 3 of the rods that we had, most of the rods were bad and blew.
Most of
'cause
the
it
rods were
overheated.
bad. So I have all these rods stashed under here that have been
Luckily.
from bad sets, luckily. And I had a set of 5 for you.
Did Dennis give them to you?
He, I don't know,
Rodman?
maybe.
Dennis Rodman? Dad joke.
I don't know who that is.
All right.
But we have these 5 for you.
Awesome. And then
so
we have
luckily,
one good one.
you had one good one. Hopefully, if it link checks here.
All right, let's link
So we're
check
gonna
it.
link check it and make sure she's good.
He.
He.
Rodman.
Okay. And
I'm
it
a nerd.
looks like that is good for you.
Sweet.
That is going to be a good rod. Now that they're link checked, and we're going to go Magnaflux them. But after we Magnaflux them, and if they're good, we're going to keep going with the process and show you how we re-machine all these. And we're going to push the bushings out of them, put new bushings in them, and we're going to hone this big end, and we're going to make these look like a brand new rod for you.
Sweet. So next time, on the next video, you'll see us recondition these. Is that what you call it?
Yeah,
Recondition
reconditioning,
these 6 rods. One of them from the original dumpster to Dyno. So
Yeah.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So luckily we had those, or we would have been screwed.
Screwed. Yeah. SOL. Throw it back in the
Yeah,
dumpster.
we would have threw it right back in the dumpster.
But
so.
no, you saved us, Dennis.
Dennis, I don't even know what that is.
All right, man, that was a freaking long day.
Man, I cannot believe it, Scott, that we were able to save that engine from the dumpster. Like, we were able to inspect it, qualify it, make sure that there was not a crack in anything. The crank wasn't cracked, the block didn't have any cracks. We were able to go through the whole boring process and surfacing to make sure that that block was usable.
Yeah.
And you're gonna see that on the next video,
next
so
video,
definitely
yep.
stay tuned. A little sneak peek before, but you're gonna see that on the next video, how that process actually happened. And yeah, I can't believe it. It was pretty
is
awesome.
magic dumpster,
The magic
man.
dumpster, man, it freaking prevailed. Merlin, you were right. You had a good feeling about that block, and it worked.
It worked, man.
So stay tuned. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you like this video, check out the next one.
All right.
What the heck are you doing in there?
I'm gonna get me an engine too to build.
Gosh, there's
Holy.
There's a common rail right there.
there's a common rail. Is that gonna be the next dumpster to Dyno?
It's gonna be the next 2,000 horsepower engine right there. Dumpster to 2,000.
Jeez, get out of the dumpster and get back to work. All right, so one of the best things that we do here is what's called a sound test. So in order to make sure that these blocks are seasoned properly and have aged to the right, time, ready to be done, is we have to take our rubber hammer and we listen. It's not as good here as it is over here. You can hear the thumpness. Can you hear that?
Yeah, do
This
that
is a
again
good
over
block
here.
though. It's not as good
I
over
can
there.
tell
This
from
side's
that
this side's ripe.
that
This
it's a
side's
USA
ready.
block.
It's a USA block.
That's
It's ready.
a USA
Yep.
block.
We're ready to bore this thing.
All right.